I didn't talk about what Conehead Adam Silver said about a month ago about the NBA being a highlight reel, but he said it, and it really ties directly to load management. And I figured that we need to cook on this a little bit. So, you know, Adam Silver, obviously, he made these comments about the NBA being a highlight reel. And I don't know if he meant to say that or if he just got caught up in the moment answering and he's not very good at answering questions on the fly that maybe he's not prepared for. Even though you should be prepared for something like this, you would think as the commissioner he would be prepared. He's also a lawyer, which he never forgets to tell us and never forgets to answer us in the most lawyer way that we can mistrust in someone. So, I want to share what he said at a press conference. He was asked the question about NBA fans and how limiting the access to games has, like, how does he think that social media and the lesser access of games is going to shape the future of the NBA fan base? And so here's what he had to say.
It's become very expensive to watch the NBA as a fan, not just going to games, but also to in order to, there's different streaming services you have to subscribe to. Some of the RSNs are expensive. I'm curious if, I know that there are other points of entry for fans to interact with the NBA. There's social media, and a lot of younger fans, that is how they're experiencing the sport. But I wonder what you think, how much you think about that and how that will shape the next generation of fans.
I think about it a lot. I will say, I saw the story your publication ran of you took all the different streaming services and added them up and what those costs would be. I will say I look at it a little bit differently because most people can only consume so many games. I just want, by way of one example, in these new media deals, we're going from essentially 15 exposures on broadcast television to 75 now. So, to the extent somebody wants to put little rabbit ears on their television, you can still get, therefore, 75 marquee games, in essence, for free in the marketplace. I'd say in addition to that, and this is an ongoing issue for the league, there's a huge amount of our content that people can essentially consume for free. This is very much a highlights-based sport. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, any service, the New York Times for that matter, to the extent that your content is not behind a paid firewall. There's an enormous amount of content out there. YouTube, another example that is advertising-based that consumers can consume. I think this is a new world now of streaming media. I think we're paying a lot of attention to that. It was one of the discussions we had with our media partners. I think not just the cost of the games. I think most people are conditioned to paying a certain amount for high-value content, but also the discovery of those games. Again, I'm a fan of many different sports, and I think we've all had that experience where you're going to Google to find the game you want to watch because the world's changed. It's not just automatically in the place you thought it would be. So, but ultimately, I'll talk about it in terms of reach, and how you reach your consumers. It's interesting because of the disruption in the regional sports network business. I never would have predicted this was coming 10 years ago, but a lot of our local games are moving back to broadcast television. In fact, we have more games on broadcast television locally than we've had any time in recent history. So, we're continuing to look at it.
Adam Silver, he's a disgrace, guys. Adam Silver is a complete disgrace, and it's almost like he doesn't realize what he said, but he did. But oh man, he really makes me angry. Adam Conehead Silver. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Adam Conehead Silver has officially turned the NBA into a glow-in-the-dark carnival ride. The man called his own league a highlight league. Like that's something to brag about. That's not a league. That's a clip show. This isn't the National Basketball Association anymore, guys. It's the National Algorithm Association. And the worst part, Adam Silver seems to be proud of it. He's smiling on camera, talking about how social media drives the game, how the highlights are what keep the league alive. Newsflash, Conehead. Newsflash, Conehead Commissioner. The game is supposed to drive the game, not Twitter clips, not 12-second Instagram reels of step-back threes. Adam Silver has taken the soul of basketball, the sweat, the contact, the competition, and traded it in for trends. He turned defense into a foul, toughness into a technical, and heart into hashtags. And don't even get me started on the gambling mess. The league is dancing with the mafia like It's the final scene of The Goodfellas. Sportsbooks sponsoring every timeout. Play-by-play announcers reading off live odds. And we're just supposed to pretend that that doesn't compromise the integrity of the game. We're just supposed to pretend that, right, guys? Please. It's time for the commish who actually cares about competition. It's time for a commissioner that cares about that. Someone who understands that fans pay to see heart, not hashtags. Someone who knows that basketball is supposed to be a battle, not a brand. And there's only one man fit for the job, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. MJ wouldn't stand for this nonsense. He'd bring back physical defense. He'd hold players accountable for sitting out games. He'd restore the edge, the fear, the fire that made this league great. Adam Silver is presiding over an entertainment product. Michael Jordan would reignite the sport. He already has. And until this happens, until he's fired, the NBA will keep losing its soul. With Adam Conehead Silver at the helm, the NBA will continue to lose its soul one viral clip at a time. Now, he obviously caught fire for these comments, and he was on some platform being asked about it. And here's what he said in response: more word salad, more lawyering from Adam Silver, and he's a goddamn liar. Look at him lie straight on camera, like no problem. Because everything's supposed to be a highlight reel, right? Probably nobody even watched the interviewer ask the question, and that's what he's assuming here. So let's watch this together, and we'll react together.
This is very much a highlights-based sport. Want to clarify that?
Yeah, I honestly, probably don't have the question with you. I mean, the question, a portion of the question, the end of the question was about the impact of social media. That's what I was answering on our sport. And what I was saying in a very positive way, and I think it's additive to those who watch our games live and increases the likelihood that they'll watch our games live. By saying highlights based, I meant, when I watch the traditional sports center, and they have the top 10 plays and 5 of those are NBA plays. I'm like, yeah, I'm not thinking like, oh, damn, like more highlights are being promoted from our league. I mean, conventionally, the reaction that was like, that's really good. It's a live game full of highlights. I mean, by definition, highlights aren't necessarily past tense. I mean, like the NBA games are packed with action. And I guess it was misconstrued, but the point I was trying to make is that there is this community of social media followers, frankly, globally estimated at roughly around 2.5 billion people connect with the NBA in some way. Any brand, any programming source would love to have those 2.5 billion people. Now, I think the challenge for the league office, and this is something I've been talking a lot about with my colleagues internally, is how do we then ensure that we're converting a highlights-based fan, for example, to a live game viewer. By no means we don't want it to be a substitute. We're not going to probably have, especially because of time zone issues when you're a global sport, it's going to be highly unlikely that everywhere in the middle of the night, people are going to be stopping and watch our games. But to me, it's something, as I said, that like now that with these incredibly exciting moments, how do we demonstrate to our fans that they don't want to miss them live?
He just keeps lying. He just told us a bold-faced lie about his comments. Adam Silver is out here doing verbal gymnastics, like he's auditioning for, like he's auditioning for the Olympics. He gets asked a straightforward question about the skyrocketing cost of watching NBA games and how fans are being essentially locked out of the product that we built. And somehow he ends up talking about social media conversion rates. Give me a break. The man wasn't asked about clips. He wasn't asked about views. He was asked about fans, the lifeblood of the league, and he changed the subject. He told that woman that he wanted to talk about social media, like a politician who just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. This whole highlights aren't a replacement for live games. Our job is to turn those social media views into viewers. That whole line, it's corporate nonsense, guys. It's the kind of thing you say when you've lost touch with reality, but still want credit for being innovative. Here's the truth. Adam Silver knows exactly what he's doing. He's turned the NBA into a paperclip experience. Okay, let's just tease the fans with a few viral moments, then charge them premium prices to actually watch. It's like selling people the trailer and calling it a movie. He wants to convert views because he's already converted the game into a product line. And the biggest insult, he's saying this with a straight face, as if he's doing fans a favor. Whoop-dee-doo. That's not transparency, guys. That's called gaslighting. The question was about access, about cost, about whether the league still cares about the everyday fan. His answer showed exactly what we already knew. He just doesn't. This is a man who has allowed gambling to creep into every corner of the sport, who's turned defense into a crime and competition and into content. And now he's trying to sell us on the idea that highlights drive growth. Please. The only thing highlights are driving is distance between the league and its fans. Adam Silver doesn't need a microcosm of the problem. He is the problem. He's a polished salesman, not a steward of the game. And it's time that he was held accountable. Honestly, it's time. The NBA needs a commissioner who understands that fans don't want conversion strategies. They want connection. They want affordability, competition, and honesty. Adam Silver has shown he can deliver none of the above. He needs to be exposed, removed, and replaced by someone who cares more about basketball than brand partnerships. Because right now, I got to tell you, Adam Silver is running the league like it's a streaming service, and fans are getting buffered out of the game. That's what's happening. So I am curious to know what you guys think about all of this. Drop me a line in the comments. I mean, what is the NBA hiding by making the game less accessible to fans? I genuinely believe that this is why the game is turned into a highlight reel, so that they can hide the deficiencies in the league, the deficiencies of the play on the court. These players are just not as good as they used to be. We're looking at, a much lowered bar, and that's because it's a highlight reel. We're not supposed to see real games. We're not even supposed to see them. They want to hide the games from us, so we don't know just how bad the product actually is. And if you confuse us, oh, well, you got to go here to watch. We just won't watch. And then we'll turn to social media. And none of this has impacted the views. The viewership on broadcast television hasn't actually impacted the money the NBA is earning. So they don't care. And that's just the long and short of it. But I want to go into the next topic, guys. And I want to talk about someone who knows a little bit about hustle, grit, and joy, and getting beat up, okay, in the paint. That's Shaq Diesel. Shaquille O'Neal, he recently made some comments about Dirk Nowitzki, and I thought that it was really an interesting conversation, really short. He was on his podcast, The Big Podcast with Zach